Our tastes in film may seem destructive, but this is a productive dialogue. Damn it, your mother ate my dog.
Hi.
Welcome back to
Thank you.
the podcast. Your Mother Ate My Dog, episode 26.
Mm-hmm.
The 20s are taking a long time to get through. 26.
Does feel that way, indeed.
This week we watched a movie called The Hunt. Is that what you watched?
That is what I watched.
The Hunt, a 2020 film, which I'm very excited to talk about because, no spoilers, but I think it's finally a movie that it's not all going to be positive things to say.
Right. And boy, is that ever funny.
We're gonna rub some elbows with negative comments, and it's gonna be real good, real fast.
It sure is. Now, who is that I'm hearing laughing in the background? Is this? Do we amuse them? Is this funny to them, or?
I can't hear a thing, but I'll close the window.
Oh, somebody outside.
No, I don't.
Damn them and their laughter.
I don't think so. I think there's people having lively conversations in my living room. But it's 8 o'clock, and it's podcast time.
It is. So let's just forget the outside world and let's focus on what we're doing here.
Let's just get right into it. We're going to start today with a little bit of an update. I don't know if you listened last week, but we talked a lot about certain scam emails that I had been receiving.
Mm-hmm.
I do have an update on that. So if you remember, I read, I think, 5 of them. A few of them were quite longer.
Yes.
One of them last week was from Mrs. Aisha Al-Qaddafi.
Mm-hmm.
And she had emailed me back. I mean, I didn't respond to her, but she sent me a second email.
Oh, okay. She's being a little insistent.
Yeah, so it's a little different, which is that's funny to me. She has a few different emails, a few different templates to go through in order to secure funds for her $27.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just quickly give this a read for our first segment, which is a scam email update of the week.
Yep.
So this one's from Aisha Al-Qaddafi. My beloved one, I need your assistance. Please bear with me. I am writing this letter to you with tears and sorrow from my heart. I am Aisha Muammar Gaddafi, the only daughter of the embattled president of Libya, Honorable Muammar Gaddafi. Was she the daughter or was she the wife last week? I can't remember.
I don't recall either.
Yeah, well, one of the two. I know my mail might come to you as a surprise because you don't know me, but due to the unsolicited nature of my situation here in refugee camp in Burkina Faso, I decided to contact you for help. I have passed through pains and sorrowful moments since the death of my father. At the same time, my family is a target of Western nations led by NATO who want to destroy my father at all costs. But I thought he was dead, so that doesn't make any sense. Our investments and bank accounts in several countries are their targets to freeze. My father, of blessed memory, deposited the sum of $27.5 million in a bank at Burkina Faso, which he used my name as the next of kin. I had been commissioned by the bank to present an interested foreign investor / partner who can stand as my trustee and receive the fund in his account. Oh, in his account. So she would have had to send this to me personally to know that I was a male, for a possible investment in his country due to refugee status here in Burkina Faso. So yeah, if you receive this email and you're a female, just ignore. I am in search of an honest and reliable person, which I have been told I am, who will help me and stand as my trustee so that I will present him to the bank for the transfer of the fund to his bank account overseas. I have chosen to contact you after my prayers, and I believe that you will not betray my trust, but rather take me as your own sister or daughter, depending, I guess, on my age. Probably a sister situation in this case. If this transaction interests you, you don't have to disclose it to anybody. Oops. That's what I'm doing now. I'm disclosing it to the 15 listeners
Yep.
to the podcast. Because of
Now
what
they
is
know.
going on with my entire family, if the United Nations happens to know this account, it will freeze it as they freeze others. So please keep this transaction only to yourself until we finalize it. Sorry for my pictures. I will enclose it in my next mail. And more about me when I hear from you. Okay. Yours sincerely, best regard, Aisha Gaddafi. So I haven't responded yet, but now I'm kind of want to respond.
Yeah, I
Just-
want you to get in on this bank.
Well, not even that, but like to get some pictures and maybe just keep this segment going a little bit.
Yeah,
longer.
I want this to be a reoccurring segment for sure.
But yeah, that's the only scam email I received in the last 7 days. But it was good. It's a good one.
I do enjoy that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. I'm trying to get this episode to not be an hour and 1 minute long. So we're kind of moving this
we're
fast.
Okay, fair enough. That was a long episode.
Yeah, because much like yourself, I do have to wake up early these days. Out the door at 6 a.m., which is different for you because like you start work at 6 a.m. But to leave the house at 6 a.m.
And for those who don't know, we record this at 1:30 in the morning.
Maybe in our younger days. So last week, you picked a regular movie of the week, not the podcast movie of the week, just a regular movie of the week.
Mm-hmm.
This week, I want to hear a band of the week. Sugar Cubes was a great one,
Yes.
and I'm looking forward to something else you might have up your sleeve.
Okay. Well, I am happy to share one with you. Of course, I didn't have this planned at all.
That's what makes it so good.
I guess that is what makes it so good. Have you heard of? Let's see, if you'll sort of humor me for a moment while I not look up a group. That is not what I'm doing right now. I am just sort of picking something out of the top of my head, and I will tell you what it is right now. Have you ever heard of the Archies?
I have heard of Josie and the Pussycat Dolls, which are in the Archie comics.
It's just Josie and the Pussycats.
Oh,
And then
I mixed the
You
two.
combined that with the Pussycat Dolls.
Right. That's a good.
Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me? That's the Pussycat Dolls. But anyway, the Archies. Surely you're familiar with the comics. Well, you just said you were. Well, this was like a band that was somewhat inspired by the comic. And they had a couple like hits. So surely you've heard of the song. Sugar, dun 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 dun. Oh, honey, honey. You heard that song before?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, that's the Archies. And yeah, they sort of had a short-lived career musically. Obviously, the comics are still going on. Did you ever collect the comics? Or read them?
Yes, as a child, for sure.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I would collect them a little. And then when I was like maybe in my early teens, maybe 12 or 13, I like actively collected like vintage Archie comics just for fun. And I don't think I've read an Archie comic in maybe 10 years at least. What about you?
At least 11 years for me. I didn't even
11
watch
years?
I didn't even watch the TV show. It's been more than 11 years.
Nor I. I didn't know there was one.
You didn't know there was an Archie TV show? Riverside?
No.
Filmed in Vancouver?
Oh, is that new shit?
It's newish.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I knew about that, but I didn't watch it. I thought that was like loosely based off the comics. Isn't it like all like supernatural now or something?
I can't tell you. I don't know. I didn't watch it.
I don't know either. Again, as we've established, TV shows not my forte. But yeah, that's the band of the week, the Archies.
Tremendous.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. I was okay. So this isn't a planned segment, but just something that I remembered I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
Before we get into the real meat of the episode, which is the follower of the week. But I was watching, right before we started recording, I was watching Jeopardy.
Okay.
Jeopardy on the local TV station here, Check News.
Comes on at 7:30 every evening.
7:30. So sometimes commercials, they'll cut to like the news broadcast, like coming up at 11, murder or whatever.
Yes.
And for the first time, I noticed that their news anchor for the late news or whatever news had the same first and last name as your roommate. And
Really?
I'm like, that's not her. But yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the exact same first and last name. Check News. You should look that up.
That is wild.
I had to stop and be like, wait a second. But confirmed true. Confirmed.
Well, maybe she is working for Check News now, and you just didn't know, and she looks completely different now. You ever think of that?
No, I didn't. I didn't think of that. I just play the odds. I just play the odds that's not the case.
Never play the odds. Never play the odds. That's what I say. When I go to the casino, I never play the odds. I basically play like the worst possible odds. It usually doesn't work out great.
Are you ready for the follower of the week?
Boy, am I.
This week is a special follower of the week. Last week we had Sean, who was just took a lot of excellent pictures of himself. This week, our follower of the week is somebody who you may know personally, somebody who may be very close to you 5 days a week. I'm not too sure how your schedule goes. Ben Bodner. Does he sound familiar?
Ben Bodner sounds very familiar. In fact, I had a conversation with Ben Bodner about the podcast this very day that we are recording.
Well, that makes sense that he's the follower of the week then. Bodner.ben.
Do you want to know his feedback?
Sure.
It was mostly about you. You sort of glazed right over me, which was a little rude, I thought. But he said he really liked your sense of humor, sort of like a dry sense of humor. And but he did mention me sort of that it paired well with me. And he also asked, is he like that in real life? And I said, yes, he is. And he said, it's hilarious.
That's wild. I feel better about picking him as our follower of the week. We'll just go back to, this is the first time I'm really looking at what he has to offer as an Instagrammer, but a lot of wildlife pictures. He is fascinated with bees. I don't know what the story is there.
He's a beekeeper.
Okay, well then that would make sense. There's so many bees. Bees and birds. Quite a few bees.
He's a bee man.
He's a bee guy, which makes sense because of his initials.
Yes.
So I hope this won't upset Greg too much, since he still hasn't been our follower of the week. But really, he's just a follower of our.
I think he knows
whole situation.
Yeah, I think he knows he's like the follower, and everyone else is sort of like a side character.
Yeah, maybe when we hit 100 or something, he can be our follower of the week. But this week it's Ben. Thank you so much, Ben, for all your feedback and your nice words. Ben, the follower of the week.
Thank you, Ben.
All right. Anything else you want to speak about before we get into the hunt?
Did you have a nice weekend?
Yeah, I had a really good weekend. Thank you for asking. Got a little bit of color.
Like crayons?
A lot of sand in places that you normally don't have sand in. But yeah, good time all around.
What pack of crayons did you get? There's a lot of different denominations in terms of how many crayons you can get in a box. Sometimes 12, sometimes 36. It goes up to 96, I think. What did you get?
So So this week, the movie of the week, podcast movie of the week was The Hunt.
Yes, The Hunt.
2020 movie, an American horror thriller film, written by two guys, one named Nick and one named Damon. Damon, best known for doing Lost. I don't know if you... It's a TV show. You probably never watched Lost.
I've watched a bit of Lost, actually. The guy, he's like in the bunker, he's bald. Yeah.
Yeah, John Locke. Yeah, the Lost, one of my favorite shows. I think I've seen it at least 3 times, all the way through. So,
Oh, wow. They were dreaming the whole time.
Well, I don't know. This is also a Blumhouse production. Blumhouse known for doing a lot of horror movies and a lot of other stuff. Paranormal Activity, The Purge, Insidious, Split, Get Out, Happy Death Day, Halloween, Us, and The Invisible Man, as well as other things. This film also was supposed to come out September 27th, 2019. But August 2019, there were a few unfortunate mass shootings in the United States, and they decided to delay it until March of 2020, right before the pandemic, unfortunately. But there's also a lot of deeper, political stuff in this, but I don't want to get into it too much. What was your thoughts about The Hunt?
Well, I thought it was a pretty fun movie. And I quickly accepted that it was that type of movie. Like, one that you can watch and just enjoy and maybe not pay too much attention to, Like, you could be doing other things while it's going on and you're not going to be too worried about missing the plot. It's not really like a plot-based film, I suppose. It's just like... Yeah, action. What were the genres that you said that it was supposed to be? An action thriller? Is that what?
No, American horror thriller film. Horror thriller.
Okay. That is definitely not how I would describe this film. I thought it was more of a comedy. Maybe a dark comedy.
Certainly, yeah.
It just wasn't terrifying, and it wasn't that horrific either. I mean, there was people dying, but it was so over the top, It wasn't scary.
No,
did you get that sort of impression?
Yeah, very over the top, gory. It didn't take itself too seriously.
Not at all. But there was a lot of fun. There was a lot of fun, twists and turns. Especially near the beginning. I liked how they were playing with who you think's going to be the main character. You know what I mean? Because at the beginning it was Emma Roberts, who's I knew her from We're the Millers. She's the daughter in that movie.
And I'm that's the main thing that I took away from this movie is how clever I thought that was. You don't see that too much.
Yeah, that was cool. It's oh, I recognize her. She's a decently big actor. I was okay, well, here's the main character. And then, she was dead in 5 minutes. And then I was
spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoilers. And I was oh, that guy? I know that guy. He's the real lead of this film. Oh, no, he's dead now, too. Also within, a few minutes after that. And then you finally get through 3 or 4 people who you think is going to be the lead, and then you get to the real lead.
Betty Gilpin.
Yes.
That's her.
Betty Gilpin.
Yeah, I would say that the first half of the movie was much stronger than the last half of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I
thought maybe, the beginning of the movie, it hooks you, but then it falls off a cliff. Which maybe affects how you view the movie as a whole after you're finished.
Yeah, it did start out the gate really strong, and I did I didn't know what was going to happen, and it was very action packed. And then I would say as soon as Betty Gilpin's character Crystal or Snowball, whatever, or is it Snowball? Yeah, Snowball. as soon as she's like by herself, and it's just her like going around, that's when it fell off. I thought. I think the strength in this film was like the characters and like the wackiness of the characters, and then it just like became her and Hilary Swank. I was like, yeah, this is not that interesting. But there was a lot of. Have you ever seen any of the Scary movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the acting in this film like reminded me of those movies. Like they're over the top and satirical, like on purpose. And like I don't know, a lot of how the characters were acting. It was as if they knew they were in a horror movie. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I do know exactly what you're trying to say, and I think that was the case.
Oh, like that's what they were trying to do? Like it was supposed to be satirical and they kind of were self-aware?
I hope so. I hope that's what they were trying to do, because if they weren't trying to do that, then something went terribly wrong.
Yeah, so it did give me that Scary Movie sort of, like Scary Movie, the franchise feel. And that's part of the reason I think also why I thought it was leaning more towards being a comedy rather than a horror film. Because it was not a horror film really at all in my eyes. It was just kind of like a fun action movie.
Agreed. Did you ever read Animal Farm?
No, but I know it quite well. I know like the basic premise and all that stuff. I know that there's a lot of like references to that book in this.
Right. So you understood the references because you understood the book?
Yeah, I got the references. I haven't read the book, but I definitely understood what the references they were throwing in there. I did like the idea. I know we weren't. I don't want to get like too political, but doesn't mean I can't sort of point it out. Where like it was sort of like a reversal of maybe what you might think in terms of if there were going to be people who were hunting other people, you wouldn't think it would be like very left-wing people hunting right-wing people. Do you know what I mean? Like they were very like politically correct, and there were I don't know. It was a funny like play on it, like very anti-violent. Well, I guess maybe not anti-violence. Like maybe they were, and then they sort of morphed into this. But it was kind of a cool twist. I'd never seen before.
Yeah, sure. Another cool thing I thought was how they kind of made you think that, like, obviously they were hunting people, but it only started, like, at the beginning of the movie, they had, like, that text chain. So you think that's how this all started, but that text chain came out, and it was only because that came out, people saw it, and it became public, that they ended up actually hunting people. I thought that was a clever little twist.
Yeah, it was. I did not see that coming. That's for sure.
22 human beings died in the movie. 23 if you count Orwell the pig. Nobody really had a real name. They were all kind of had nicknames because, especially at the beginning when everybody was gunned down, we didn't really know their names. Like Emma Roberts' character was named Yoga Pants.
Yes.
But then there's, like Dawn.
Yeah, there was like real names and not so real names.
Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make. Okay. Well.
Yep, that's the one. It was fun seeing. Have you ever seen the movie Field of Dreams?
Yeah, I think we watched that together.
Did we?
Yeah, I think we watched it at least one time. In a
that doesn't surprise me, I suppose.
Place we used to, or maybe I watched it without you when you lived in it. I was like, oh, I watched Field of Dreams, and you're like, oh, that's cool.
It's a good movie. Well, the woman in the gas station, like one of the owners, I guess.
Ma.
She's in Field of Dreams. She's like Kevin Costner's wife in that movie. And I was like,
no,
her.
No, she plays Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Oh, right. Yeah, Shoeless Joe. I forgot about that.
Speaking of Shoeless Joe, isn't that played by, what's his face who just died? Ray Liotta?
Yes. No, it's played by Amy Madigan.
Oh, sorry. Also,
And Ray Liotta was Kevin Costner's wife.
Also, we might want to take this time to pay our respects to Olivia Newton-John, who passed away tragically at the age of 73 earlier this week.
Yes, I did hear about that. I learned about that today, actually.
Okay. Oh, interesting. So I was told, maybe it happened yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before?
No, 2 days ago.
Okay, the day before then. I was told over a text message, and the first thing that came to mind when I was told that Olivia Newton-John was dead, I replied back, oh, Olivia Newton gone? And I thought that was funny. I just wanted to share that joke.
A little dark, but I like it.
I mean no disrespect to the family of Olivia Newton-John. I hope you enjoy the podcast. Back to The Hunt.
Back to reality.
Anything you didn't like about the movie?
I wasn't
Besides the ending. Don't say anything about the ending. Or the acting. Don't say anything about the acting.
Oh, okay. I won't talk about the acting, and I won't talk about the ending. The writing, maybe the strength of what ended up being the main character, and the acting chops, if you will. I mean, they may be a perfectly fine actress, but maybe not so much in this. But I won't get too into it because you said not to. Yeah, the storytelling wasn't great either. I don't know. There's quite a bit of flaws in this film. Well, what are some of yours that aren't acting and ending?
This was 57% on Rotten Tomatoes. Do you agree or disagree with that number?
Well, I don't want to give too much away, but I would say that's quite in the ballpark, yes.
The two issues I had with this movie were acting and the ending, so everything else is pretty decent. I mean, it's cool that they were in Croatia, I guess.
Yes, I did.
Shout out
I did
to
like that.
Croatia.
Yeah.
You asked about the weekend that I had.
You were in Croatia?
Weekend? No, I was in Tofino, but we were there with somebody who is from New Zealand, but was born and grew up in Croatia, whose name was Luca.
Oh, interesting.
Everything. I'm getting a lot of Jesse vibes.
Getting a lot of Jesse vibes
from like my day-to-day life.
From your life.
Yeah,
can't escape me.
Like I was watching TV and my girlfriend's name came up on the news there, and then you also have a brother with Croatian roots. I believe he's half Croatian. Well, I don't know actually what your dad is.
That's right.
Fully Croatian. Is he fully Croatian?
Yes.
Then half Croatian and also named Luca. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And you record a podcast with someone named Jesse as well. So there's that.
True. Okay, so you had heard about this movie before, but you didn't know much about the movie.
No. I've never heard of this movie before.
So when I brought it up to you last week, you had never heard of this movie?
No.
I thought you had. I thought you said in the podcast that, oh yeah, I've heard of the movie.
Did I?
Okay, so I guess this expectation score doesn't really make any sense then. So we're just gonna skip that.
Okay, skip the expectation versus reality.
Do you wanna do scores now? We talked fully about this movie, themes, we'll get into some trivia a little bit towards the end. There's maybe some fun facts about it.
And when we talked about the political stuff, you can just cut that right out. It doesn't make a lot of sense unless you've seen the film, you know. But anyway,
yeah, this movie didn't make a lot of money because it came out like a week before COVID hit. Betty Gilpin won a Critics' Choice Super Award for Best Actress in an Action Movie in the year 2021.
Critics' Choice Super Award. Damn, that sounds badass.
Yeah, The Hunt was also nominated for Best Action Movie at that award show as well. It did not win.
At the Super Awards?
At the Super Awards. Okay, so we'll jump into scores really quickly here. Do you want to start with how you felt acting went for you?
Sure. There was a lot of people I recognized. Like, I wouldn't call them big name actors, except Hilary Swank. She's an Oscar-winning actress. But
she was also in that Office episode where they debated whether she was hot or not.
Yes.
Of course, you've never seen The Office, so.
I think you mentioned, yes, that was like your hint last week about the film.
Oh, that's weird. It's a TV show. You never watch TV shows?
No, I don't really.
Sorry, continue.
Her performance was pretty good, I suppose. She wasn't really didn't have a ton of screen time, I guess. She was like, she was in the last half of the film a lot, or maybe the last third.
Yeah, she didn't show up. Her face didn't show up until the 63rd minute of a 90-minute movie.
Yeah. There was other people that I saw, like Ethan Suplee, I think is how you pronounce his name. He's this guy who was in My Name is Earl. You ever watch that show?
Yeah, and The Bully from Boy Meets World.
Yeah, see, that's a show I've watched. My Name is Earl. And Emma Roberts and this guy, Ike Barinholtz. I recognize that guy. A lot of people I recognized. But I guess, I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the acting wasn't so terrible. Could have been a writing problem. I did have a bit of a problem with Crystal's performance, the character Crystal. She had a lot of weird, like, reactions to certain things. Like, she would just make, like, a weird facial expression, but not really, like, say anything. I'm not really sure what that character was supposed to be. And, like, I don't think the writers knew either. Like, you know how when Hilary Swank was, like, asking, oh, are you the real Crystal? Like, the one that I thought you were? And she's like, no, I'm not. But then that wasn't really ever explained. You know, I don't know. Like, it was strange. So,
right.
I don't know. This is just sort of like a really annoying way to try to tell you my score for acting. Let me just tell you, in my mind it was a 5. Should I give it higher than that? No, a 5. Just kind of like flat characters and like just a lot of weird reactions like that didn't seem very human-like to me.
Okay.
That's it.
I partially picked this movie because I knew it wasn't going to be like a high-scoring movie. It was a movie with a lot of promise, but it really failed in a lot of areas. Acting in one of them, I'd say Betty Gilpin was the star of the movie, but like I don't know if I was really enthralled with her performance at all, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't really her fault. Or maybe it was. I don't know. I think I disliked every single actor in this movie and what they brought to the role. Like, there were no standouts.
Very true.
Some were okay. Like, the best scene was probably when they were in the general store at the beginning with Ike. Mm-hmm. We didn't really know what was going on. Like, that was probably the best scene. It was funny, and
I would agree that was definitely the best scene.
And then, like, everybody died. And then the movie kind of just died off from there. So I gave acting a 4 out of 10.
That's fair. Yeah, that scene, like, it let the actors like show off their acting abilities like the most, and like it was genuinely funny and engaging, and I was like actually curious what was going to happen next. And then all those characters died, and then I'm like, okay, new people, and then they weren't as interesting of characters after that. So yeah, it was like downhill from there for sure.
You want to talk about downhill? How about we get to our ending scores? I'll start this. Yeah. Somehow the ending was worse than the acting. It was just a generic ending. Like the protagonist goes and confronts the antagonist, that being Crystal versus Hilary Swank's Athena character. Mm-hmm. They have a fight, and while they're fighting, the protagonist kind of learns what the motivation was for the antagonist, why she did what she did, and then
Classic.
The good guy wins the fight. And then she gets on a plane and drinks the Titanic wine or whatever.
Yeah.
Considering how great that the first, third or even first half of the movie was, the ending falling that flat kind of puts a sour taste in your mouth. And then you think about that for years. And it ruins it for you. So I gave it a 3 out of 10.
That's fair enough. Yeah, like the ending felt a little rushed, but then also like put too much emphasis upon, like that fight scene with Hilary Swank and Betty Gilpin was like way too long and like not interesting enough to justify its length. And then when Crystal like won, the plane was just like there, and I guess those people were just standing there waiting that entire time. Like I don't have a great sense of how much time had passed, but a couple days, that's my guess, a day or something. And then she just flies off. It's like, what? That was so stupid. And totally not fitting to the type of film that we had, like, we're just watching. That just feels like so flat and boring and stupid. My score for the ending was the exact same, a 3.
So what I think the explanation for the plane was, Hilary Swank called Crystal to come to her.
Yes.
And so then Hilary Swank would have been like to the plane, hey, on standby because I'm going to kill this person, and then we're going to fly away. So that's what I kind of got from that.
I guess so.
3.1 out of 10.
3.1. Yeah, but even with that, I mean, it was still a stupid ending. The whole reason I'm saying the ending was dumb was not just because the plane was waiting right there the whole time. But maybe I don't know.
How did you feel about the fireplace? Kind of like it's separated rooms. So like the fireplace, you could just like see through it. How do you feel about a fireplace like that?
Just like if I were designing a home.
Yeah.
It's an interesting look, I suppose. Well, what about you?
Well, it seems a little dangerous because like there's nothing stopping. Because it's like a real fireplace. Nothing stopping.
It was real, and there was nothing like holding it back. That is true. A flawed interior design, for sure.
Well, okay. So, what was your final score for The Hunt, the 2020 movie that should have come out 2019?
Well, it's higher than my score for acting and ending, because those weren't the only things in this movie. There was there was moments of good writing, not for the characters, but like writing in terms of what happens. And like it had a ton of potential at the beginning, like lots of twists and turns I was not expecting. Some genuinely funny moments, like in the gas station or the general store or whatever you want to call that. But yeah, then it was muddled with some uninteresting performances. Perhaps specifically the main character, who was just like flat compared to some of the other people that were present and were quickly killed off. So I'm giving it a few points for like some creativity. Points taken off for acting. Points taken off for ending. Points taken off for it being supposedly a horror movie, which it literally that never even crossed my mind that this could be a horror movie. It was just like a satirical action movie in my mind. But there was potential there. And I also, like I said right at the beginning, right off the bat, I was like, okay, it's this type of movie where I can just not care too much about the plot, not try to like overanalyze exactly what's going on, just kind of sit and watch it and let what happens happen. So I gave it a 5 out of 10.
Holy cow.
Are you saying holy cow because my score is higher than yours?
No. I really enjoyed the first half of the movie. I have said that numerous times. I liked how they went away with the norm. Like, you never see... Like, okay, so we assumed that the main characters, any movie you see, the main character is like the first person you see, really. So, like, we open up on Emma Roberts opening her eyes and realizing where she is. She was the first character we saw in that field. So we assumed that she's the main character, and then she gets shot in the head first, and you're like, oh, what is this movie? And that's a great feeling for somebody who watches, a lot of movies. It's all normally pretty, they follow a certain pattern, so that was refreshing. But then the movie falls off the cliff, and then it gets worse every minute, which is not really what you want. There's a reason why we don't have like a starting score or even an ending score. We don't have a starting score. I also gave it a 5 out of 10.
Oh.
Which might have been generous a little bit.
It does feel that way.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm being generous, but then I don't want to try to... like when you're giving a score to a film, I feel like in general more weight is added to the end of the film. But I was trying not to do that. I was like, put a little bit more weight on the front end, and that's why I came to a 5. If this movie was just like the last half of the movie, it'd be like a 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was The Hunt. Wonderful. Glad we got that over with. I'm just gonna shout out some fun trivia that I see, and then we'll get to the next movie. If you have a hint, if you know what we're gonna watch next, just keep that with you for a few seconds here.
Okay.
This is the second film in which Ethan Suplee runs beside a train trying to jump on. He does the same in Unstoppable in 2010. Unstoppable, if you remember, was that Denzel Washington Chris Pine movie about a train or something. I never saw it.
I don't know it, but I'll take your word for it.
6 of the 9 producers are significant Democratic National Party contributors.
Yes, that was a little evident, I think.
The piano concerto played in the kitchen scene is by Mozart, not Beethoven, as stated by the actress.
Mm-hmm.
The pig in the movie was treated as an equal on set, with it having full access to all catered meals.
Oh. Pig gotta eat.
Yeah, not a whole lot of other stuff. The last one I'll just say is when Ma and Pop are speaking to the escapees who enter the store, they use fake accents. When they are alone or with friends, they speak with their normal voices. That was a piece of trivia.
Is that trivia?
I don't know. That's trivia, baby.
That's like saying, well, Hilary Swank's character, her name was Athena. It's like, I guess that's technically trivia.
Okay, what movie or documentary do you have for us next week?
Oh, well, I haven't picked one.
Okay, that's good.
Yep. So it's a mystery for now. No,
Do you
I
have
cannot give it.
Do you have like an idea, like a few different movies you're choosing from, or you just really don't know?
I literally have no idea what I want to pick. I haven't given it any thought. I kind of want to aim for like the early 2000s. A film from that time period. But that's it.
Charlie's Angels 2.
Charlie's Angels 2.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's disappointing to hear. So to wrap up this episode of the podcast, episode 26, we're probably going to hit the 1 hour mark again, but nothing we can really do about it. Well, I'm going away from coffee trivia this week, just because the questions have been a little like ridiculous and uninteresting. So what I found was a random trivia generator.
Oh, great!
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you I'm going to give you 6 categories to choose from. You choose one category, and then we'll answer questions together.
Okay, that sounds good.
So category number 1, you can pick arts. You can pick science. You can pick entertainment. You can pick history. You can pick general, or you can pick geography.
I'll take geography.
Interesting. I would have guessed you would have went general, but you've chosen geography. Ooh. Yikes. Okay. So we'll just do 5 questions.
Okay.
Which is kind of what we were doing before.
Yes.
So I'm just going to go, because they just keep generating. So what I'm going to do, we're going to start. Okay, I got you. Question number 1. On the 1st of November, Spain celebrates Todos los Santos, which translates to what in English? Todos los Santos, November 1st, Spain.
Todos means many. The many... I don't know.
I'm going to guess the running of the bulls. Does Santos mean bulls?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
It's All Saints Day. All Saints Day. Is the answer?
Okay.
So
I don't know, how's that? That's not really geography. I mean, Spain. It's a fact about another country, I suppose.
Spain. Okay, so just so you know, this website, they have all the questions, and then you click on it, and then it tells you the answer. So I'm not just looking at the answer. Well,
right, you're not cheating.
Question 2: which city has the world's largest castle complex? What city has the world's largest castle complex?
Glasgow.
Interesting. I was thinking more of like Central Europe, like Transylvania area. So I'm going to say Bratislav. And the answer is Prague, Czech Republic.
Okay. Central Europe was a good sort of idea. Didn't quite connect, but I like that.
Here's an easy one for you. Which
Apparently
country?
I need it.
We'll just need to get our
confidence up a little.
Exactly. Which country shares borders with China, the United States of America, Finland, and Ukraine? Country shares borders with China, U.S., Finland, and Ukraine.
I guess it would have to be Russia, right?
You would think, and you would be correct. It is Russia. Question 4. From what country did the U.S. buy the Virgin Islands? What country did the U.S. buy the Virgin Islands?
got to be Portugal or Spain, probably. Well, I guess I would say Portugal.
There is a British Virgin Islands, so I'm going to say the UK. Maybe they just split it. Denmark. Denmark is the right answer.
Okay.
And question 5. What country is East Pakistan now known as? East Pakistan.
East Pakistan. I'm not going to look at a map, but I guess that would have to be East Pakistan. Oh. We're going to see release. Boy, oh boy.
Okay, I'll just go first, and I'm going to say Iraq.
Boy.
Or Iran. It's Iraq or Iran, I think. Or Afghanistan.
I'm going to say, I don't know. It's near India, near that area. I don't know. What's the answer?
So you say India?
Sure.
Bangladesh. Bangladesh is the answer.
Okay.
And then
I knew it wasn't India, but around that area.
We're just gonna pick one more question, a bonus question of the week.
I shouldn't have picked geography. Let's be real.
It's fun. What is the smallest Canadian province?
Prince Edward Island.
The correct answer is Prince Edward Island. Look at that, ending on a positive note.
Yes. So smart.
It's always good to end these podcasts on a positive note.
Sure is. In that amount of time when we were doing trivia, I thought of the movie I'm going to watch. We're gonna watch for the podcast.
That's why I did it.
I thought you might. You actually even uttered like 2 words of the 3 words of this movie title.
In one of those 6 questions, or like the last question?
No, like a little bit before we started talking about questions.
Oh.
As we quickly approach 1 hour, like we were saying we wouldn't do. We're almost there. So I guess my hint will be it's like it's from the early 2000s, and it's like a thriller, and it has to do with photography.
Is it 1 Hour Photo with Robin Williams?
Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, I have seen that movie, but we certainly can do it for the podcast if you haven't seen it. Like, I haven't seen it recently.
Okay. Yes, that's the one.
Okay, that's interesting.
That's the movie I'm picking. I've always wanted to watch it.
And you know nothing about it?
I know some things about it.
Okay, great.
Great. So I think that maybe we just do sort of like, how some shows have like a cold open? Just kind of like starts. Maybe we could have like a cold close. Just like ends.
Like this one right now?
Yeah. Like maybe end it right when I said ends.